In a world.
Mate, hold up. We said we're done with the serious intros.
Who said?
Well, we did.
I don't remember that.
Well, I said it, and you're me, so, you know.
Well, I don't care. In a world.
Hey, I told you. We're keeping it light.
You do it on your own then.
Well, technically, I already am. So, anyway. Fuck yeah. Pure wild flight. Get it down ya. How good? Visit nzaerosports.com.
I get to do the next one.
Well, obviously, you moron. We both do.
I was 19, broke, unemployed, and sold my girlfriend's canopy for drug money. So, I thought I better sew her a new one. What a sentence, and what a story. This describes the humble yet outrageous beginnings of NZ Aerosports, the home of Icarus canopies, in the words of our founder himself. From getting a paratrooper toy from his mom, watching parachutes at the DZ as a 6-year-old, jumping off the wharf with a parachute made from bed sheets, doing his first jump at 16, sewing his first canopy on a borrowed machine at 19, and starting to sell parachutes out of a garage in 1986, Paul Jyro Martin had an undying love for the sky. Our company started with one man with the wildest of spirits and a true blue sky dream, a renegade. In the time that Jyro created and ran the Icarus Canopies brand until he passed away in 2017, he pushed everything he had to its limits. We miss him, and we always will. Jyro is the next generation of NZ Aerosports. It honors our founder, of course, because it was the name we all knew him by, but Jyro the rebrand also marks the start of a new chapter, our next jump. Jyro is the space between sound and silence, art and science, chaos and calm. Jyro is a state of epic tranquility that transcends understanding. That moment, in the door, in free fall, mid-swoop, where nothing but the present exists. A perfect balance of euphoria and thrill. Jyro captures our passion for flying and our commitment to designing break-the-fucking-rules canopies that deliver pilots pure, wild flight.
Coming straight from the cockpit, it's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go! All right, back in the can for another edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void. And with the magic of the internet, I've got another amazing person on the other line to give us some insight on all kinds of cool stuff in regards to skydiving and, well, a little bit of everything. So tell me, who the fuck are you and what do you do?
Hey, how are you going? Thanks for having me. My name is Attila, and I'm General Manager of NZ Aerosports.
Attila with NZ Aerosports. So,
that's right, yeah.
A lot of people just either smiled really big or got cold sweats thinking about the amazing stuff you guys are producing.
No, thank you.
Yeah. So you've got, actually, I don't want to get too deep into the NZ Aerosports stuff first. I want to hear about you and how you got started in skydiving and, well, basically anything extreme.
All right. So my father was also a jumper. He actually stopped jumping before I was born, but he kept in contact with his friends. And so I always heard the stories growing up. And I thought, I'm never going to be able to do that. And then one day, one of my friends just asked me if I want to go skydiving. And without thinking, I remember I said yes. And that's when it started. I was 16 years old.
Nice.
But I'm from Hungary originally. So back then it was a little bit different type of course and the gear and everything. Hungary was a communist country. And the first jump course, it took 2 months.
Really?
So it's a little bit long. And the gear was probably about 20 years behind what the rest of the world was jumping. So my first jump was in round military style parachute. It was chest mounted reserve canopies. I packed my reserve for the first jump.
Wait, what? You packed your reserve for the first jump?
Yeah, that was part of the course.
Holy shit.
Yeah, we all learned by the time we went for the first jump, we packed it probably like 10, 20 times.
Oh, wow.
Even better, for the fifth jump, we actually had to open the reserve on the canopy and land on the two canopies.
Wait, a 2 out was a requirement for the course.
Yeah, for the fifth jump, not for the first.
Oh, all the way when you had that much experience. Holy shit.
Yeah. So yeah, so that was my first jump. After the first jump, actually, I wanted to stop. I was just too scared. I wanted to go home, but probably because my dad was a jumper, I thought, okay, I'm gonna stay for these 8 jumps, and you guys never gonna see me again. But yeah, by the time I get to there, I just couldn't wait any longer.
Was there a specific...
Jumping was free.
Was free?
Yeah, it was free. So back then it was free. We didn't have to pay. The government, it was part of government military type of training, but had its downsides because I used every opportunity in the first year to go to the drop zone, and I managed to do 27 jumps.
Oh, wow.
So they told you when you can go after the jump, which plane you can go up, and what altitude and what are you supposed to do in free fall. So yeah, it was a little bit different, but hey, that's what everybody was doing. It was still the same, good bunch of people.
Sure.
Yeah, I had a time of my life. I was 16 years old. It was great.
Now, was there, because you said you were really scared when you first got started, was there a turning point? I mean, was there one jump where you're like, oh, that was it, I got it, I figured it out, or that wasn't as scary as I thought, or did you just push through because Dad used to do it?
Yeah, at the beginning, I just pushed through. So first day we did 1 jump, and the second day we did 2, and I was just really drained, emotionally, physically. And I was like, oh, what am I doing here? I already tried this. This thing is going to kill me. And, but then the next day we did 3 jumps, and I don't know, it was just a nice day, or, something just clicked. Definitely not the jumping. There was, we were just doing static line jumps. They opened the door. I seen the light. I was jumping, running to the door, and that was it.
Right.
That was kind of for me. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just,
now,
yeah,
what
changed.
What was the mentality behind having you guys pack your own reserves and then open it on the 5th jump?
Oh, I have no idea. I often wonder. Back then it was normal. They told me this is what you have to do. There was about 40 new students on the drop zone. Everybody did the same thing. So it was normal. But only years later I was wondering, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah. Now, what did Dad think of you jumping?
Oh, he supported me. He supported me with everything that I was doing. But when I told him I want to start jumping, he was really happy and he was really proud, and he just helped me along the way everywhere he could. He could. And the funny thing is that he stopped jumping before I was born, but a couple of years after I started jumping, he came back and he started jumping again.
Really?
So we were handing it back and forth, and then my sister, she started jumping as well. So yeah.
That's
a bit of a family thing.
Very cool. So now 16 is really, really young to get started in that as well. So especially if you got started and really got going with it, did you know you wanted to work in the industry from the beginning?
No, there was no industry in Hungary. So there's all jumping. So the first time when I seen real skydiving, it was in 1991. 1991, the World Championship was in Slovakia, and all the French forward team, they were the world champions at the time, and German forward team and A2A team, they came to Hungary for training because they had a helicopter on the drop zone. And I was still jumping my chest mounted reserve, and these guys came with, I think, the first ZP canopies came out in 91, Sabre, and BT Pro or not BT. And, these guys were swooping those canopies, and I was like, what's going on? Like, there's a totally different level of skydiving.
Right.
And I think that was the first time when I thought, okay, there is something here that I like to do actually I like to learn that. I like to experience that.
Mm. Now, what was your first step into because you see these first competitions, and especially coming from the background that you did, it must have seemed like a whole brand new world. What was your first dive into trying to get into skydiving working wise?
Oh, there was way later. There was in '95 when I started packing. But before that, I was really lucky because as the government changed, the whole skydiving scene changed as well, and there was new opportunities. That's when the first, we could actually compete in four-way the first time, and we built a good team with my friends, all 20, 25 years old, and because there was no four-way team before, we won the nationals straight away second year on the second competition.
Oh, wow.
We had four-way in the national. And the government was supporting it. So I was 22 years old, and I was off to the World Meet to Arizona in four-way.
Wow.
First time jumping outside of Hungary, and straight away to Arizona. I mean, that's an awesome drop zone.
Yeah. I mean,
and
it had to have been
some
some serious culture shock to go straight from, very small and very isolated in Hungary to Arizona.
I didn't want to leave. I remember at the end of the competition, I was standing out there, and I didn't want to get back into the car. I didn't want to leave. And my friend said oh, don't worry, we'll come back. And that's where I started actually packing in '95 or '96.
Wow.
So I did back, and I spent a lot of time in Arizona. It's one of my favorite places actually.
So that was the first major competition, and your first time jumping ever outside of Hungary was Eloy.
Yeah. I mean, we were shit on the competition.
Yeah.
No doubt. We beat maybe two teams. But it was great.
Oh, it had to be.
And another funny thing on the competition there is we were on the same plane with the New Zealand team at the time. I didn't speak any English, but the Kiwi team and the Hungarian team, we were on the same plane. So Jyro, who became my boss and a good friend of mine later on, he was in the New Zealand forward team. So we were sitting side by side. Did not know that we're gonna work together years later in New Zealand.
Well, it's
good.
It's crazy how, I've talked about it before on the podcast, that the sport, to those of us that have been in it for a long time, feels like it's been around forever, but skydiving is still really pretty damn new.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I mean, it's still very young, and I've been lucky enough to sit and talk to people that were my heroes when I first started skydiving, and I've been lucky enough to jump with guys like Lou Sanborn. I mean, licensed D1 for Christ's sakes, and to be able to jump with someone that's at the one of the basically the founding members of modern skydiving, and he's still jumping. How epic is that? It's such a great sport in that respect.
Yeah. And there was a different sport back then, and the gear and. We can thank a lot for those guys.
Oh, yeah.
They shaped the gear and the rules and everything for us.
Yeah, there were a lot of people that got the truly dangerous stuff out of the way. I was lucky enough to have Bill Booth on as well, and some of the stories that he's told just stand my hair on end. So now you did that first big competition in Arizona, and obviously by then you're completely hooked. So did you keep competing quite a bit?
Yeah, that's right. I probably competed on 8 world meets total.
Oh, wow.
Most of them in four-way for the Hungarian four-way team, and then 3 times for the New Zealand four-way team. And I also did one canopy piloting world meet in Austria, in Vienna, in 2006.
Man, oh man! I mean, you've seen it all, especially considering you started, on rounds with belly reserves, and to be where you're at now, especially working with, I mean, do you ever just sit back and shake your head and go, "Holy shit, what a ride"?
Yeah, you often forget about that, but yeah, like time to time, like you look back, and I tried a lot of things, achieved quite a bit, so can feel good about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like just before this podcast, I was thinking about it, that I jumped those gears, which was like really like 20 years before our time in the 80s. We really gear designed in 60s, 70s, and I also jumped one of the first Petras, if not the first Petra. So it was quite a big of a gap between the two.
Yeah, I mean it's absolutely insane. I don't even think you can compare the two. They're so different. Now, how did you end up going from a belly reserve to literally the cutting edge of canopy technology? I mean it's astounding, really.
Oh yeah, that was a long way. So the next thing in skydiving for me, like the next big change, that there was winter in Hungary, so I couldn't jump, and by then that's all I wanted to do. I was like 25, and so we went to the States to start packing, and we ended up packing for the Golden Knights.
Oh wow!
And so packing for them and traveling with them and jumping with them for years, it was just amazing. There was there was a huge step forward for me.
Sure.
In skydiving, I got to know a lot of people on the scene. There's where they were jumping. That's where like most of the teams, like in Arizona, most of the teams from Europe and the rest of the world were training, and we spent the whole winter there for years. So
sure.
I love that. And then in '99, I went to Arizona for the World Meet, and I stayed there. But then I was also doing tandems and a little bit of AFS, so I wasn't just packing. I was working on the drop zone, and then going back to Hungary, working there, doing tandems. So I was already working in the industry.
Sure.
And that was like, I was just chasing the summer, back and forth.
Now,
1 year after.
No, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. I wanted to stay in Australia. By then I kind of like had enough of traveling, and I really liked the Aussie skydiving scene.
Mm.
I had a good job. I was jumping in Tugolova. I love that place. And I wanted to stay there, but couldn't because of visa. I couldn't get extend my work visa. I had to leave the country in the middle of the winter, and that's when I came to New Zealand.
Wow.
I didn't want to go back to Europe, so I came to New Zealand. I got a work visa straight away. I got a job, and I was like, okay, I can do this here. This is a beautiful country.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I've been here since 2002.
Well, New Zealand's spectacular. I was very lucky in that I had the opportunity to go over and spend one off season from the States jumping on the beach down in Paihia. And it was spectacular. I mean, such a stunningly beautiful place.
So that's where I was working in the Bay of Islands.
You were? Okay, so I followed in your footsteps.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I was jumping for I don't know if it was the operation that you were with, or I jumped for Davey and Kelly for one season.
No, that was before, but I did some jumps for them on weekends. But it was before that. It was before that.
What a spectacular place.
Before Aerosports, before I started working for Aerosports, I was working up in the Bay of Islands.
Oh.
And I had a bit of a falling over with my boss there, and that's when my first son was born. And I was looking for something different, but skydiving is all I knew since I was 16 years old.
Sure.
So there was obviously I wanted to find a job in skydiving, and I couldn't find a job on another job zone. And I already knew Jyro and the guys at Aerosports, and I just asked them, hey, I have nothing to do. Are you guys looking for anyone right now? And they said, yeah, actually, we are looking for someone right now.
Wow.
So I started working there.
So
It was in 2005.
Okay. Now I don't know a whole lot of history about NZ Aerosports. I remember being surprised because New Zealand didn't really hop on my radar for a long time in regard to skydiving. It had always just been the U.S. manufacturers and all that stuff. How did NZ Aerosports not only get started but become, one of the leading canopy companies in the world?
So Jyro, who's the founder of NZ Aerosports, he was a jumper, and he just wanted to make ends meet, and all he wanted to do is skydive, and to finance his jumping, he didn't have a job. He started making logbook covers and jumpsuits and gear bags at first, and then he made a parachute for himself, and it actually worked. Just a copy. And then his friends asked, would you make one for me as well? And then so he made few. And he's a real thinker. He was a real genius. And so he started thinking, I think I could do this a little bit better. So he started tweaking those canopies. And they got better. So he started making more and more, and that's when he actually in 85, 86, NZ Aerosports was born, and he started making Icarus canopies by Jyro.
Wow. The balls, that's the only way I can put it. The balls that it has to take to go, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to make my own parachute. That's pretty hardcore. And especially to be able to go from that and do a good enough job that your buddies are like, yeah, could you make me one? That's epic. That's awesome.
Yeah. And the first big breakthrough, he had some good canopies, and, people liked it. But, PD had the Excalibur, the cross-base canopy they made from F111 fabric. But then the ZP fabric came on the market, and they were actually better than the cross-base F111 canopy. So everybody was concentrating on the ZP canopies. And that's when Jyro was thinking that, okay, so the cross-base canopy was a better structure than the normal 9-star canopy, and then ZP is better than F111. Why don't we try to put it together? And that's when he made the first cross-base ZP canopy, which he called the Mark 1 Extreme, which was flying great, but it was opening like shit. And he couldn't really solve the opening for a long time. And I remember he told me that one morning he woke up. He probably went to bed. He was drinking a little bit before he went to bed. The next morning he woke up, and there was this drawing on his bedside table. And then he looked at it. I was like, oh, this is a great idea. And that's when he started closing the nose on the canopy first, on the Mark 1, and then on the FX and Crossfire to control the opening.
That's the crazy thing, right? Is you don't just have to try and figure out the aerodynamics of a canopy in flight. You have to figure out the aerodynamics of a canopy as it opens, which I never thought about.
Yeah, that's the art.
Yeah, for sure. Part of it. Now, when you started with NZ Aerosports, what were you doing for them?
I was making line sets and cutting canopies, rigging. And very soon I realized how little I know about canopies and how they're made and the parachutes. And I had so many questions, and I wanted to learn everything. It was just interesting.
So now, when you started, it wasn't laser cutting canopies and stuff, was it? Where you guys were hand cutting this stuff, weren't you?
No, we actually. So there's something else that Jyro did. He developed this cutting machine with a friend here in New Zealand, cutting the canopy with a hot knife blade.
Okay.
And he actually sold this cutting machine all around the world. Many companies, making parachute had this cutting table. So he started traveling the world and putting in cutting tables for Tony Uragalo. He was making canopies at the time. I think he sold the first one for him, and then Precision, and he also sold one for Simsa in Spain. And he got to know also people in the industry. NZ Aerosports was still a really small company manufacturing in the garage for France and to the Australian market. We had some good ideas and some good products almost developed. And then that's when Jyro met George from Precision and Fernando from Simsa. And they formed Icarus canopies and started marketing and pushing the Icarus brand around the world. So that's when actually the brand and us started growing.
Well, and it definitely has. I mean, there's really only two. I mean, it's the different canopies going back and forth that you see in competitions or that everybody's talking about. It's always NZ or it's always Icarus or PD, back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. We like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you guys are on the podium all the time these days now. I mean, you guys must be thrilled with how amazing the canopies aren't just received, but how well they perform.
Oh yeah, that's the fun part for us is we design and develop these canopies and we put it out there and just to watch what the skydiving family does with the canopies. Like they changing the sport. You make a canopy and you think, okay, this is a good canopy to fly, like the cross-based canopy back in the days, the FX and then the Velocity. And the next thing is there is a swooping competition, or you make a small canopy and then you see XRW. It's a totally new sport, and it's you can't plan for that.
Right.
You're giving the tools for the market, and you watch them go.
Yeah, I honestly, I kind of always imagined that it was you guys would build these canopies and jump them and figure out what they're good for to some degree, and then get these videos back going, holy shit, they did what with this? Because skydivers are always going to push and go a little bit further and a little bit more hardcore. And I mean, watching guys do, basically ground loops, 360s and XRW and all these crazy things that they're doing with your canopies, all the way down to jumping the smallest canopies ever. I mean, that's some pretty crazy stuff.
That's right. Yeah. Sometimes I'm watching it and it's like, oh, I'm not sure if you're supposed to do that with this canopy.
Right.
But I love the footage and hey, there have always been people pushing the sport and showing us how far we can go safely. So I take my hat off for those people.
Sure.
You mentioned the smallest canopy.
Yes.
So that's a good example. Luigi started that with the VX first, and then the JVX, going from 41 to 39 and 37 square feet, and then later on Ernesto landing the 35 square feet, and we are actually in a process with Luigi. He wants to take the record back with the 34 square feet Slayer.
I mean, that's a bed sheet. That's
it's I'm looking at the panels and it's insane.
I mean,
you pick up the thing and it's scares me, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, visually, I see. I was lucky enough to be around when the 35 was being jumped and seeing it in person, and it looked about the same as the kites guys fly on the beach.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's teeny. Well, so what kind of intense design has to go in? Because it's not just a matter of just making it smaller. So much more has got to go into that. I mean, you guys must be putting a ton into it because at the end of the day, it's your name on that canopy that's being flown.
Yeah, that's right. And so we have experience with this. Like, this is not actually something that we've been pushing as a company. It was always like first Luigi approaching us, hey, I'd like to try this. And we were like, okay, yeah, like, we make it. Obviously, this is also interesting for us. Like, this is taking something already extreme into even more extreme. Like, this is interesting for us.
Sure.
And yeah, like throughout as we made the smaller canopy and a smaller canopy, we always learn something. So now we have a checklist of modifications that we have to make on the line trim and the canopy itself. Obviously, it takes much longer to make it, and I mean, it's a world record. So you can't go smaller and smaller forever.
Sure.
Like, there's got to be a point when it doesn't work anymore.
Right.
But like, you don't know until you know it.
Yeah.
But that's a process. I mean, these are professional athletes, and they collect data and video, and they're not just gonna put it up there and see what happens. So they have the whole training plan worked out, and they only gonna do it if they trust that it's actually gonna work. So
Sure.
If we trust them, they trust us.
Right. Well, one of the things that I found most surprising in watching Ernesto and his training and workups to it was that the most critical part for him wasn't the flying or the landing; it was the openings.
Definitely, that's definitely the scariest part of it. I don't know if you've seen any footage of that canopy malfunctioning.
Yeah, I have, and I have never seen anything so instantly intense in my life.
You don't have much time there. Like, it's like, the speed and like, when I'm looking at it, it's just Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah, so the forces involved and the speed with which it happens, it's so instantaneous that, I mean, reaction time has got to be insane. And I mean, I watched Ernesto put all kinds of hardcore physical training on himself just to be able to handle the stresses, because half a turn into a bad opening and he's struggling to get to the handles. I mean, that's intense.
Yeah, he's like Ernesto. Like, he really put lots of effort and into the whole project. It was really nice to watch him through the whole process and working with him. Like,
sure.
He really.
Now, obviously, with his jumping the 35, that was the most extreme case. But as you guys produce these extremely high performance canopies, these cutting edge canopies, and these are getting released onto the market, is there a nervousness involved into the way that the skydivers are going to use it? Because I mean, let's face it, there's some skydivers that are out there that are super safety conscious and can handle that hardcore stuff, but there's also the ones that are just going to, crank and yank and go as hard as they can. When you put out something new, are you ever going, oh geez, I wonder how this one's going to be?
Yeah, we try to put some rules around of who should be jumping what,
right?
And so we're really asking all those details, and sometimes something raises a flag. We talk to them, we ask around, see if they have any coach or safety officer, drop zone safety officer we can talk to. So the sales team here really try to do the background check to make sure that only people are jumping these canopies who can actually jump them safely. but you never know at the end of the day. Like, they can make up. It happened with us that they made up a whole backstory, and someone was covering the whole thing, and we find out that like we wouldn't even sell a cross-based canopy for that person, and they ended up jumping a layer. So that's sad, but we hope that most of the time the skydiving community out on the drop zone will take care of it. So you try to do your part, but there is also that on the other end, people will stand up and say something if something is not right, and it usually happens.
And at the end of the day,
secondhand market is also a funny one. Like you don't really have a control over who are they selling canopies to, and you would think that you really look at the person you're going to sell your canopy to, but it's not always the case.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, people are going to do what they're going to do. If someone is bound and determined to get their hands on a Leia, even if they shouldn't be on one, eventually they're going to get a hold of one. It's going to happen. So
that's right. Yeah.
There's only so much you can do. Now, does NZ Aero Sports do you guys have canopy courses and stuff like that?
No, we don't. But most of our athletes, like they're running courses, but we reach out to PD coaches as well. So it's not only in our close circle of coaches or friends. We know people all around the world. Obviously, this is a small community, so you can always reach out, and the people appreciate that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, yeah. I mean, it's just the due diligence on everybody's part, and it absolutely should be. Now, so how has COVID been treating you guys? And I mean, I know New Zealand did pretty good all in all, and was super good with the lockdown real quick and everything. But have you guys gotten back to jumping?
Yes, we actually just had another not full lockdown, but we went back to level 3, which meant that lots of companies had to close down, including drop zones. We just opened up again. So what we have here in New Zealand is, we are lucky, as you said. It's a bit of a good news, bad news situation.
Sure.
Like now we can open up again and we can operate, but we can't really open the borders. Because as soon as we do that, we have to close down the whole country again.
Sure.
The factory is open and we are operating. The office is an admin, staff, sales team. We are all working from home. So there is a bit of a disconnect between. I feel there is this bit of a disconnect between production staff and the office. But it's temporary. It's nice to be back again soon, hopefully, in the factory. Obviously, everybody is affected, so we are no different.
I just saw something recently, something about Talpo closing its doors for good.
Yeah, they only have a few more weeks.
Oh man!
And there are two. That's really sad, and it's really heartbreaking to see drop zones struggling, and some of them closing down, and I guess it's not the end of it.
I mean,
it is. So the whole tourist, the whole skydiving industry here is based on tourists.
Oh yeah.
On tandem. And same in, similar in Australia. So, no tandems. But, hey, maybe they will be concentrating more on student training again and, pushing people in lockdown, maybe thinking about their life and their bucket list. And maybe this is going to be some new people injected into the sport.
Well, and I would think in in some ways it might be positive in regard to long-term and getting more active skydivers in, because now the money that people were going to be spending on those vacations that they can't take anymore, those people that had that bucket list that, hey, I always wanted to learn how to skydive, and they didn't just spend that money on the trip to Europe, or they didn't just spend that money on the trip to the States. Maybe now they're going to put it back into jumping, which would be amazing.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Some of the drop zones we talked to in Australia, they already dusting off the student rigs and pushing for students and because there are no tandems. So yeah, I really hope that that is actually happening.
It definitely
That would be good for the sport. It would be good for everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all of this definitely put an exclamation point on the fact that the sport really blossomed and kind of had this huge boom, specifically because of the tandem industry, because we're watching, drop zones kind of going into shock without those tandems. So maybe this push in a new direction and going towards the student stuff will be healthy eventually for everybody, which would be awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Now, is there anything new coming down the pipe, canopy-wise? Have you guys got any new designs coming? Any new changes?
Yes. We're always working on new canopies, new ideas. I guess that's the interesting part of our work. We have two projects that's been on the pipeline for a long time. One is Anna. It would be a canopy somewhere between or JFX and Leia. And the other one is P2, which is Petra 2. Would be Petra on steroids. Steroids. I mean, like Petra has been jumping it for 8-9 years now. So, we have a lot of experience with those canopies.
Sure.
Obviously, not being able to test jump lately slowed down this project a little bit, but hopefully we are not too far with those. And other canopies, student and the tandem are still two canopies that we didn't renew. So they are due for some work at one stage.
Okay.
We don't have a reserve, so there is a reserve is on the drawing table.
Oh, nice.
Drawing board at one stage, and all the things that you learn from all the high performance canopies, they all trickling down into all the other canopies.
Sure.
Don't know. What do you think we should be working on?
Well, the performance of your tandem canopy stuff is fantastic. I've always enjoyed that quite a bit. I don't have the balls to jump the Petras and the Leias, just a little out of my range. I started jumping a Velocity years ago, and that's as high end as I ever went. And now these canopies, I watch them come in, and a casual landing is just rocket fast compared to what I'm used to. Now, did you do some of the test jumping on all that stuff?
I'm jumping a Sapphire now. Yeah, I used to do test jumping. So
what's it like doing test jumping? You got to be a little bit. I'm assuming that you have a triple canopy rig when you're test jumping something, but I mean, it's got to be
not always, but yeah.
No, I just can't imagine the first guy to jump a Petra.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't just happen that way. So in 2010, we had Julien from France came to visit. He was in New Zealand working with America's Cup, working on some some wing sails for sailboats.
Okay.
For America's Cup, and he was a skydiver with a few hundred jumps, and he came to visit Aerosport. We have people coming to the company factory all the time just to look around. So I did a normal factory tour with him, and then at the end he said he thinks he could help us with designing canopies. And that was different. That was a little bit odd. I didn't know I couldn't tell if he can or not, if he's bullshitting or he really like, if he for real. But anyway, we kept in touch, and he came back half a year later for a project. He brought his softwares, and we started working by just recreating the JVX with his software, and then testing the JVX that we've been jumping for 5 years, and we had world records with that canopy and his design. Compare apple to apple, and yeah, it was good. And then we realized that with his software bundle and with his brain and with his method, we can actually come up with an idea, run the simulation in the CFD the next day, and then in a couple of days we can pull those panels out, make the canopy, and in a week we can actually jump the canopy.
Wow.
So we started, that was our Summer of Love R&D project, and we started our rapid prototyping. Jyro just wrote down this long list of ideas that he wanted to try. Starting with, let's make it a higher aspect ratio. Let's make it more elasticity on the front, more elasticity on the back, more elasticity, around the whole canopy, and always just try one thing at the time. We shape the canopy and then we put it into the CFD. We look at the numbers and the graphs, and if it's looking good, then let's make it, take it out to the drop zone. Go back to the factory, debrief and cocktails, watch the videos, and pick the next target for the next week. It was a great time. We had really great energy, and every canopy we learned something. And some of the stuff I'm looking at it now, it's all on YouTube still. Some of the stuff I'm looking at is it's crazy. And yeah, we've been just jumping it as a main canopy, most of them, high altitude, high jump, high hop and pop, and then give it a good trash up high. And if I felt comfortable to land it, then landed it. If not, then cut away. That was the that's what we've been doing.
I mean, that's intense.
Yeah, it was. It was. But then after a while, we started experimenting with different rib shapes, and they looked great in the computer. The numbers were just 10, 12, 15% improvements in the canopy. So we definitely wanted to give it a go. So one thing that the computer it doesn't tell you is how the canopy is going to open, or how is it going to feel on your controls, front riser, rear riser, brake lines, and also how stable the canopy will be on different inputs. And we made the very first canopy with a different wing rib shape, just on a JVX platform. That was the canopy we had the most experience with. And the canopy was just, you touch the front riser and the canopy was collapsing.
Ooh.
But by then we had this funny 3 canopy system where you had the 2 main canopy on. It was a strange system. It was all 3 canopies on your back, and the test canopy. You open the test canopy first, but you had to cut away, putting 2 handles on the front of your risers. And then after you released that canopy, then you had 2 more canopies, just your normal rig on the back. And before Julian went back to Europe, we put all our good ideas together into one canopy. And that canopy was just, I jumped it. That canopy only got 1 jump. We never jumped it again. So it was really fast. I jumped it. It was an 86 square feet. We called her Ilona, and I pulled the front riser, and the canopy collapsed, and it's inflated again, but it collapsed again, and inflated again, and it just went crazy. It shook me around so badly that my feet actually ended up in the line.
Oh my God.
I don't know how. I never heard anything like that before. So the canopy was, I was flying it for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, trying some, some deep brakes, some turns, some re-riser a little bit before I touched the front riser. And now I was, my right anchor was in the, between the lines and upside down, spinning around really fast. I thought I'm going to pass out, but I couldn't cut away because it was all spin out, and the handles were between my chest and the riser because the riser was going towards my leg. Anyway, long story short, I couldn't cut away, so I just had to pull the reserve and hope for the best, which I did, and it's opened. So now the reserve was open, but this canopy was still around my ankle, spinning around. So managed to cut it off and land the reserve. And we still have the canopy in the graveyard, but never put it again. It's in the bag.
Yeah, better to have the canopy in the graveyard than you in the graveyard. That sounds like
yeah, exactly.
Fucking hell.
But to be honest, that's really changed me. After that, nothing happened. I was fine. I didn't break anything. It was just a really big scare. But the thing that before that I always felt that with my experience and I can handle any situation. But on that jump, I was lucky. And when I went for the next test jump after that, the next canopy was actually Petra, and I was still doing a few test jumps on Petra, but I was not really testing it. I was not really giving it a real go. I was flying it, I was jumping it, I was landing it, but I was scared.
Sure.
By then I could just not do what I was doing before. So I was like, okay, that's not for me anymore. Let's let someone else do it.
Yeah. Well, I would think with a situation like that, and I suppose a lot of skydivers have it at some point, you have an incident like that kind of taps you on the shoulder and reminds you, hey, this shit's for real, and it could go badly. And it's a reality check for me when you realize that luck actually does play a part in some of this stuff. And I don't like luck. It makes me really nervous.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
same. Same. There was a.
Yeah,
you can only be lucky so many times.
Yes, exactly. And eventually you can't help but think, all right, one of these times it's not going to work out quite as well. Yeah, the whole test pilot thing, man, that was just never my thing. I'll leave that to much bolder guys than me.
So while I was doing it, I loved it. I was part of something that I always wondered, how did they get to this canopy? How did they develop, Stiletto? How did they develop the VX and then the JVX? And I was part of that process. And my feedback after the jump, everybody was always designing. They were listening to my feedback. They watched the video, and so I was part of the process of making it better. Prototype after prototype after prototype. So that was actually really I loved it.
Sure.
So it was my thing while it lasted, but then this came along and you don't want to put it back.
Yeah, I mean, eventually you just kind of got to go, okay, yeah, that was good, but I mean, you've got children now and all that stuff, so that's got to play a part in it too. I mean, actually,
my son was on the drop zone then.
Oh.
So he just watched everybody being really scared and running around, and so it scared him as well.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that had to play a huge part in the decision to back off a little bit because, I mean, as soon as the kids are involved and if he got scared because of something that dad's doing, that's got to be a reality check.
Yeah.
So now, you went from that into your current position?
No, I was already general manager of Aerosport. So I actually skipped that part. So I started working there in '95, making line sets and rigging. And back then the company was really small. We only made about 6 canopies in a week, and we had 2 sewing machinists. It was a small, really chilled lifestyle business.
Sure.
It was really nice. And the general manager had some family issues at the time, so he was away a little bit, and he always gave me the phone, asked me to take an order, to answer an email, to charge a credit card, to ship a canopy. So, and I was eager to learn about everything and anything. And I've only been there for maybe half a year. Then he said, sorry, I can't do the work right now any longer. And then Jyro asked me if I want to do it. So I only been there for half a year, and then I became manager of the company.
That's a hell of a tour.
That's right. Yeah, I was at the right place at the right time. Mind you, it was a little bit different. So half of my time was still on production. I still cut all the canopies. I still did all the shipping and did some quality control by then. And taking the orders, emails, and just learning on the fly. It was and then we started growing a little bit. Started in 2007, 2008, and then when we started developing new canopies and making a little bit noise around the world, and people started noticing us. And that's when we really actually put an effort into growing and became the company that we are today.
Sure. Well, I mean, I can remember too, I think I had just started flying Velocity, and all of a sudden there was this Icarus canopy out there that was starting to make some real noise. And then it was Icarus this and Icarus that. And it became this back and forth battle of what are you on? You on a PD or you on an Icarus? Are you flying this or are you flying that? And that's when, that you guys must have just been over the moon thrilled because it, like I said, it's,
oh yeah,
it's those
100%. I mean, PD always PD always owned it. They had back in the day, there was Team Extreme, but that was in 2001, 2, 3. And then after that, PD owned it. We only had few canopies on competition. We always had some really talented, really good competitors. There is Nick Badge. He was just keep taking the world records, the distance record.
Sure.
But there was not many competitors flying our canopies. And I look at it now, and it's half. And yeah, exactly. We are thrilled to see that.
Oh yeah, no, it's amazing. Well, and the fact of the matter is, all the canopies that are being put out they're fantastic canopies, but of course they're always going to be measured by what the champions are doing. So if you guys are battling back and forth all the time for the podium with PD, that's pretty epic.
Yes, yeah, and I mean, the competition, the swoop competition is the best place to decide, what canopy flies, how well.
For
they
sure.
fly.
For sure, absolutely. Well, and it's also very cool that in the realm of sports, the most visible part of skydiving for most people nowadays is either guys flying down mountains in wingsuits or canopy stuff, because that's what spectators can see. And it's just an in-your-face part of the sport, which is super cool.
Yeah, I'm when I watch these guys flying today in a competition, and the speed and the distance, and it's just
it's crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy, especially considering where you've come from in Hungary, flying round parachutes at 16 years old. And now you're running the company that's putting out some of the most cutting edge canopies on the planet. That's a hell of a ride.
That's right. Yeah, and it's not the end of it.
No, God, no. I'd say there's a lot more to come. Speaking of which, for those that are listening as we wrap things up, how do people hop onto the website to find out more about the canopies, more about the company, and more about you? What is NZ Aerosport's website?
yeah, you can go to nzaerosport.com or icaruscanopies.com, and I'll check out all the all the canopies, or contact the team through live chat.
Awesome. Now, do you guys run an Instagram or a Facebook page as well?
Yeah, that's right. The NZ Aero Sports, Icarus Canopies by NZ Aero Sports is our Facebook page.
Okay.
Yeah, right. We have lots of world champions and record holders, and
Yes, you do.
What they do with the canopies is amazing. But also, just for now on Instagram, I see someone posting about being happy about receiving a sapphire and putting a post up on of the canopy still in the bag. That's just a cool thing to see.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Well, and just seeing because you've got such a wide range of canopies out there for all experience levels, and it's got to be very heartwarming to see how well received everything is and how much fun people are having with it. And hopefully, COVID gives us all a break and we're all able to get out and enjoy the air a hell of a lot more than we have been.
That's right. Go strong again in 2021.
Yeah, man. We'll see what happens. But Attila, I got to thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and talk to me and fill us in a little bit about yourself and about NZ Aero Sports and Icarus. I really appreciate the time.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care.
Good talking.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Lunatic Fringe podcast brought to you as always by, well, wait, not as always, actually. Brought to you now by Jyro. Formerly known as NZ Aero Sports, you'll head to Jyro.com for their next level line of canopies. By Pussfoot, the extreme sports collective. Head over to pussfoot.com to check it out. By Summit Parachute Systems, check out summitparachutesystems.com to talk to Jarrett Martin and the gang about kick-ass pilot rigs, rigging courses, and more. By Flyaway Indoor Skydiving, go to flyawaytn.com and check out all the cutting-edge stuff to come. By Pure Spectrum CBD, head to purespectrumcbd.com to check out their wide range of CBD products. And as for us, head to the lunaticfringepodcast.com to listen to any of the hundreds of episodes currently available, hit the link for our YouTube channel, pick up your copy of the Lunatic Fringe book or The Accidental Stripper, and get a sneak peek at upcoming guests. Once again, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.